I cannot tell you that LeBron James nor Joel Embiid will get no kind of consideration for most valuable player because of the game. If y'all want to bury Stephen Curry and Nikola Jokic, who hasn't missed any games by the way, if y'all want to bury those two, saying they're not as valuable or as popular as the aforementioned candidates, go right ahead. Because Jokic is going to win this year and Stephen Curry is going to win the next 3. Watch this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
I'm back. Good morning. And welcome to the Manic Monday edition of Snowman in the Morning. I am back. I love being back. And hey, let's get right down to it. We're coming to you live from North Carolina, and thanks for tuning in, however you are tuning in via Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and through our audio network, including WSDMDB. You can follow the show on social media using the ID official SIT Morn for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and others. It is season 8, episode 1, and we have a bunch to get to today, and I got a special guest to lead things off. We're getting to LeBron getting off the protocol hook, NFC West chatter later on with Mike Debate, unwritten rules for baseball, especially when it concerns my White Sox, Phil Mickelson becoming the oldest player to win a major, to win the PGA Championship. He did it at age 50. That's right, 50. And Phil is still swinging. And we'll talk about what took me so long to get back. My guests today include Megan Price in hour 1 to talk NBA playoffs, Jay Spivey in hour 2 to talk Carolina sports, and Mike Debate in hour 3 to talk NFC West happenings. And we're starting over with our recap since this is the first episode of season 8. So we're gonna reset everything and basically start over with our interviews. So let's get this party started. I'm glad to be back. I am happy to be back. I'm happy to be back live. I had to get some things together, and I'm just overjoyed. I'm just overjoyed to be back with you guys. Whew. What's on tap today? Well, LeBron is off the hook when it comes to the protocol. We're going to start right there, and that's the hot topic that I'm going to discuss with my good buddy Cole Johnson, who is on the hotline with me this morning. Good morning, sir. Glad to have you back.
Good morning. Glad to be back.
All right, let's dive right in. I got Megan Price coming in at the bottom of the hour, but why are we not surprised that LeBron gets off the hook for violating protocol? COVID protocol, that is. I mean, everybody else faced punishment. Why didn't he?
See, let me strain my brain on this. Is he made out of gold? No. Would he put out a hit on anybody? No. Man, I'm having a hard time giving you a good answer except, oh yeah, he's the NBA's cash cow. It's ridiculous that if you're going to uphold everything to the letter of the law with everybody else, why would you just simply say, okay, well, we won't even slap you on the wrist. We'll acknowledge it happened, but you go on and play as if nothing happened. How fair is that to every other player in the league?
For the second time. You know how I feel about 2016. Okay? I've made no bones about that. I won't make any bones about that. And it happened before the play-in game against Golden State. It happened before the play-in game against Golden State, and he was allowed to play. Really? I don't get this at all. What did we miss when the rules came out? What the hell did we miss?
I don't know. I would, like I said, I would love to make an educated answer out of this, but it's just simple. It's just you can't, because it's just simple, and it just boggles the mind as to why they just simply go this route.
You know, I've made the contention, and I will continue to make the contention, that Adam Silver doesn't have a set when it comes to the NBA. I will also continue to make the contention that Adam Silver is a puppet when it comes to running the NBA. Lord, don't get me started with Roger Goodell. That'll be in August when we talk football.
Yeah, we see the puppet strings on Roger Goodell's body to know that. But yes, but the funny thing is, it seems like they're puppets, but for different reasons and different people. Goodell is a puppet for the owners. It definitely is looking like Silver is a puppet for the Players Association, and it lets you know how powerful that labor union is getting.
Yes,
to where the commissioner is capitulating to the MBPA's vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And saying, "Oh yeah, you may have violated protocol, but you don't look like you bad enough. I don't think you really meant it. Yeah, go ahead. And go ahead and play in Phoenix."
And on top of that, we don't even know if he's vaccinated. Therein lies the problem with me. We don't even know if he's vaccinated.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. And that to me is open and shut. If a protocol of that nature, to the degree and point that you think that the health of others that a player will be near on the court is going to be jeopardized,
then why are you putting them out there?
Yeah, then that player needs not to be on the court. I don't care if it is LeBron James. Yeah.
That was the time. This was the time that Adam Silver and the Players Association, okay, let's go all the way there, needed to make a statement. And they cowered in fear of a player. The NBA cowered in fear. And it's not the first time either. It's not.
And considering that LeBron has a couple years left on that contract in LA, it will definitely not be the last.
No, it won't be the last. And you just said it. Years on his contract in Los Angeles. Okay? Los Angeles is a cash cow for the NBA, period. Has been since the Lakers moved there. Different reasons. A lot of good reasons. But I can't accept this. I simply cannot accept the fact that there's but I will say I'm glad the Lakers got beat yesterday. No, because I'm sick and tired of people putting so much hype on LeBron and AD and the Lakers okay, riddle me this. Why does the praise get heaped on LeBron James and the blame get heaped on Stephen Curry after they put on one hell of a performance? And the Warriors are playing shorthanded, i.e. minus Klay Thompson, i.e. minus a healthy Kelly Oubre, who gave it his all.
Oh, at the risk of derailing the conversation, I will talk about Curry at another moment, at another time. But LeBron hit and then how it's phrased.
Yeah.
Because at the end of this 103-100 win by the Lakers in the play-in game between them and the Warriors, it was phrased that LeBron hit a clutch three-pointer.
My ass. I'm sorry.
So upon further review, I saw that the three-pointer was basically a chunk.
Yep.
The shot clock was almost going down to 0, and it was a minute left on the clock.
The shot clock was virtually dead.
So
the shot clock was virtually dead.
So if this was within 10 seconds of the regular clock, then I'd say, okay, yeah, that was a clutch three-pointer.
Yep.
But a three-pointer with 1 minute to go? Okay, so it was a key moment where the three was chunked and it went through.
Absolutely.
But yeah, clutch? No. But it feeds the narrative of this is a phenomenal game between supposedly LeBron's greatest rival.
Who's beaten him in the finals, by the way, folks?
Yeah, beaten him
3 times.
1, 2, 3 separate times.
3 separate times and I'll say it correctly for you and the other old schoolers, in the World Championship Series.
Warms my heart when you say that. But it fits the narrative of,
doesn't it?
Yeah, it fits the narrative of LeBron. He's 36. He just came off his 4th championship in 10 tries.
And you know what? And you know why I laugh at that. You know why I laugh. You know why I laugh at that.
Mm-hmm.
You know why I laugh at that.
Yeah.
Because you and to think you sent me an article where I went completely off via phone about Jordan's 6 for 6 being an overrated argument. Yeah, and I am of the inclination to think that if you go to the NBA World Championship Series, and yes, I'm saying World Championship Series, 6 times, you win them all, or in the accomplishment of the greatest winner of all time, Mr. Bill Russell, if you go 13 times and you win 11 of them, I think I would tend to take that. Or in Robert Horry's case, 7 out of 10. 3 of the greatest winners in the World Championship Series. Give you a 4th, the late great Tom Heinsohn.
Yeah.
And yet they celebrate this dude.
See, with him, there's a lot of variables that converge, such as he's the latest and greatest.
Bah.
You know, he's the star of the league. Let me
Again,
see.
bah.
He reminds people.
Say it.
He falsely reminds people of Jordan.
How?
Well, the only way he does
How?
is the number. The only way he does is the number he wears. But
he's okay. Can I say something I've said to you over and over? He's got no business wearing 23. None.
You know, yeah.
Am I off base in saying that?
You will get no pushback, no argument out of me.
I mean, if you want to, you got many reasons to retire 33. Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird, Abdul-Jabbar. Okay. You got many reasons to retire. You got a couple reasons to retire 32. Billy Cunningham, Magic Johnson. There's only one reason to retire 23 across the league, and he shaped the league. Okay? He didn't shape it. That's Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Okay? From 1979.
But he did influence the players that are out now because everybody wants to play like Jordan.
Mm-hmm. But
when I mean everybody, I mean centers want to play like him. So yeah.
But what they don't realize is that MJ did it within the concept
of a team.
Thank you. Thank you. He did it within the concept of a team. Big difference. Huge difference. I mean, Stephen Curry gets his points within the concept of a team. And congrats to Steph Curry for becoming the scoring champion.
Oh my gosh. I cannot congratulate him enough.
For becoming
And
a two-time scoring champion.
here's something.
Go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. Now, here's something that, and I have no horse in the race with the Warriors. I don't hate them either, but I don't have no horse in the race with them.
Yeah, yeah.
But this frustrated me. There was a person that I saw. I think I was scrolling through a Facebook sports page, and they had the audacity because the Warriors lost to the Lakers and the Grizzlies in the two playing games.
Mm-hmm.
Had the nerve to say, "Well, Curry, he must need other superstars to win because, he sucks." And I'm thinking to myself,
Wait,
how
what?
on earth? Yeah, I'm thinking, how on earth can a player suck when he needed to score over 30 points just to get them in the
Just to
yeah. It's not that he sucks. This is a clear-cut case of you can score those points, but you need others to score with it.
exactly.
I
And
don't
yet
care
they
if it-
want
I
to
don't
put
care if
and
it's-
they
right.
and they want to put him down.
Right. I don't care if it's a starter. I don't care if it's a backup player. I don't care if it's a guy off the bench. I don't care if it's a popcorn vendor. As long as someone can chip in with 15 or 20,
Mm-hmm.
with Steph going off for 30, he doesn't necessarily need a Clay. Although if he had Clay, that team would be in the playoffs now. But
Listen,
I mean,
if
he
he
doesn't
had
need
Clay,
a
they'd
Clay.
be the number one seed.
Right.
All right.
But he doesn't need a Clay Thompson to be a superstar. To Curry or that.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fact he's such a superstar, because he is the greatest shooter we've ever seen in history of the game,
Yep.
and because he played statistically his greatest season this year, you're talking about him. So I don't get why.
I don't get
I
it
don't
either.
get why people have that type of disrespect toward a player who just balls out, no matter what. Because those two losses are not on Curry. Because last I checked, he averaged over 30 in both of them. So that wasn't Curry. That was
And
not
John
Curry.
Morant just made bigger plays.
Yeah,
I'm being I love the
right.
Memphis game.
Yeah,
I
it
loved
was
the Memphis game. It's a future star in John Morant versus the current star in Stephen Curry.
I was gonna say,
John Morant is there. Okay.
I was gonna say it was a case of a coming of NBA age with an absence.
And John Morant is a stud. Okay, here's the difference I see Curry and LeBron James. There's a little cuss word I have not introduced in our conversations, and it's called accountability. Yeah, I went there. The Lakers lost by 9 to Phoenix in game 1, and they're going to lose that series. They're going to lose that series.
Here's where that actually applies, especially with LeBron. People were giving him all the praise
Yep.
for that win, for that play-in. All the praise.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter what any other player did in the Lakers. It was the fact that LeBron hit that quote clutch, close quote 3. We're not digging about Caruso with the great defensive effort on the other end
No.
after that shot, right? Not thinking about that.
Mm-mm.
We think about LeBron's clutch 3, but yesterday's game, we aren't talking about how horrible he was.
Oh, no. Oh,
That's
no.
not even being mentioned. What's mentioned is he decided to hit the deck and feign an injury again, and a scuffle broke out. Now we'll talk about that, but we won't talk about the fact that LeBron just simply had an off game.
And no one wants to mention that he had an off game. No one wants to mention that at all. No one wants to mention that the same kind of jump shots that he hit in the game against Golden State,
They weren't falling in that game.
bingo.
They
Bingo.
were not falling late yesterday. And
And no
And-
one
and
wants
that's
to
all-
no one
yeah.
wants to mention that.
all that is
No one
brushed
wants
aside
to
and
mention
excused. Right. All that's brushed aside and excused.
Mm-hmm.
And that effort led to the Lakers only putting up 90 points the whole game.
Yep.
So,
Not to mention LeBron faced another stud in Devin Booker, who had
Booker went off in that game.
34 points. 34.
He went off in that game. Talk about another coming NBA age guy.
You got three of them. You got the established star with Steph, and you got two up and comers in Devin Booker and John Morant. And I love me some John Morant. All right, let's just be real. I love me some John Morant.
Both those guys are I can score from anywhere at any time, and I love that about Booker and Morant.
Mm-hmm.
But with Booker in yesterday's game, what it proved to me, and he should get more shine, and I'm not hearing much of it for him either.
You won't. You won't. And I look. I told you at the top of the season I love me some John Morant.
Mm-hmm.
I told you that at the top of the season.
I loved him when he was in Murray State.
Yep.
You know,
and he proved so much to me. John Morant at Murray State was like Steph Curry at Davidson. Coming out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Coming out of nowhere. You're within the first hour of Snowman in the Morning. Cole Johnson on the line with me as we talk all things NBA. I got Megan Price coming at the bottom of the hour to finish off the NBA hour. Let's continue. Memphis took out Utah last night. Uh-oh. Where have we seen that before?
Mm-hmm. Can I say I'm surprised with that?
No.
Can I really say that I'm alarmed at that?
No.
Yeah, I can't. I can't.
Nor can I.
And the reason being, that was good that you mentioned Morant. That team already feeds off of him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about that. They already feed off of him.
Yep.
And to see the effort that they put together as a team because of this one talent, it's impressive.
And they're going to keep building around him.
Yeah.
They're going to do correctly.
And it is so funny that we're thinking that this is the first time that the Jazz have been the number one seeds since the late 90s. And
1998.
In the conference.
1998.
And you know, Salt Lake City, that we can say what we want about the fan base, but they're rabid in their support of the team.
Yep.
And the team itself, they have good young pieces. I love Gobert. I love Donovan Mitchell. I love Ingles. The dude is just a grinder.
Yep.
They got really good pieces. What I've always been stymied by is they haven't really been able to put it together and be a cohesive unit to where you look at them and say, oh, they can be a future power. And unfortunately, last night, that was another example of that. Just yet another example of, okay, when is this team going to get it together and actually show that they can be a contender?
They got outplayed by a team. They got outplayed.
Yeah.
They got outplayed.
And you would think that they would be hungry. You know, that they've been fighting for this. They've been fighting for respectability.
All year.
Yeah.
All year.
They've been fighting for respectability. They're fighting for home court. And now they have home court throughout. And yet, you know, I mean, even in the finals, if they were to match up with anybody in the East, they would have home court.
They got to go to Utah first to start it.
Right. But the effort that I'm seeing in the 48 minutes of this team, I'm not liking. Yeah. I'm not liking.
There was no effort in Utah last night. None. All the 50-50 balls, all the chances to make plays went Memphis's way. And I am not surprised whatsoever because Memphis is feeding off of their win in San Francisco.
Feeding off of their win in San Francisco, as they should. Because that win was so huge for them.
Yeah,
that
a franchise moving win.
Yeah,
franchise moving win.
Yeah, franchise moving, franchise defining win. And you know, I loved them when they had, you know, when they was the grind era, and Zebo was in there. I loved how they were because it was real difficult to hate them.
And it seems like they're going back to that era.
And I was thinking about that. And I'm looking at this team. I'm like, man, they seem to have that similar type of grit
Mm-hmm.
and that similar type of style to them. And I'm getting the similar type of vibe. I really can't hate this team.
I can't either. I can't either. When you go to a place that we know next year is going to be a house of horrors in the Chase Center,
Hmm.
and even though Golden State lost, I love seeing the fans show up and show out.
Yeah.
Getting fans back in the arenas now. Which brings me to New York. When
What
was
an
the last
atmosphere.
time we heard MSG roar like that?
What an atmosphere. Now, you can say what you want about the Knicks. You can say what you want about New York. You can say what you want about New Yorkers.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna tell you this with all sincerity. You and I have watched basketball since 1980.
Yep.
For the possible exception of the Boston Garden,
Mm-hmm.
maybe at times the Forum, and definitely in the last decade, Oracle. Give me an arena that consistently, when the team is really good, sounds like Madison Square Garden on a consistent basis.
Chicago Stadium.
That's probably the only other arena that I didn't mention.
Chicago Stadium. And
Besides those four.
we know in the late 80s and 90s how loud Chicago Stadium got. Shall we reference the East Finals matchups with the Detroit Pistons?
God, all 3 years.
Yes.
All 3.
Yes. I mean, my gracious.
I mean,
MSG last night was a madhouse. And I love it.
Oh gosh, I mean, people want to poke fun at Spike Lee being a Knicks super fan.
I don't.
When he got the, yeah, I don't. But when he gets the chance to just simply revel in the team's fortune the way he did when they went up 103-100 with 1 minute to go in the game.
You thought the roof was going to come off the joint.
Oh yeah.
What did
yeah.
did Keith Jackson say? 1990 UCLA played Washington. Washington came all the way back and took the lead again and tied UCLA. What did Keith Jackson say? Now they're about to peel the paint off the joint. When the Knicks went up 103-100.
Oh my gosh.
You would think Larry Johnson was in the house and he hit that 4-point play against the Pacers in 1999.
1999. Mm-hmm.
You would think you'd see that angle. I can't wait for the big atmospheres. Chicago, New York, San Francisco to get a full house.
That because I saw that particular clip about 5 times, and each time it was for the same reason.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that would have made it complete is if Mike Breen and Walt Frazier were on the call. My good buddy Jake Assman talked about it last night, and he talked about part of it this morning when I tuned into him before I came on air. The Knicks have to put it together for Game 2. The fans are going to back them. What I'm going to pay attention to is Game 2 in the Valley of the Sun.
I am too.
I want them to bring back when America West Arena first opened. You couldn't find a seat in the house. You had to have earplugs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they were electric.
Yeah. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that. Megan Price is going to join me here in about 6 minutes to break down all the series and plus talk a little bit more about LeBron getting off the hook. But my buddy Cole Johnson joining me to start the show. First time in a while that we've done that. And we got to make this a habit. We have to make this a habit. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you jumping on with me to kick off the show.
No problem, man. Glad to do it again.
Oh, boy. That's how you get started. And it just... Now, I know I got a little piece later on LeBron and why the NBA is, and he used the perfect word, capitulating to him. And they are capitulating to him. But you know something? I hope it happens again and they don't capitulate to him. What the NBA needs right now is a commissioner that has a set and will not give in to what he does. Okay? I'm looking for a commissioner that will not give in to the players and will tell them, look, this is how the league is going to run. You have your players association. When it's time to negotiate, we'll come to the table. Megan Price after this.
Today's singing can help you remember things, so here's some tips for parents out there during these tough times. Number 1. Make sure your kids wash their hands for 20 seconds after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside. 2. Virtual play dates. Social and physical distancing can help save lives. 3. Tell them they're safe and show your love and pride. Yes, we'll get through this together. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around, and every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect, in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage.
The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at storycorpsconnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada. Nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume, and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Snowman in the Morning is back, and which means snowmaninthemorning.com is back. Go to snowmaninthemorning.com to catch all the latest episodes, the latest videos, the latest audio, and pick up the podcast. Everything is inclusive in snowmaninthemorning.com, and the shop will be open later today with the first couple of items being t-shirts. Go to snowmaninthemorning.com/shop for more information. Now it's time for me to welcome the Queen of Hoop, the one, the only Megan Price, as we talk NBA playoffs. Good morning, Megan. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about that win by Memphis over Utah on the road?
Oh my goodness, what a great win. And as a Spurs fan, and the way they beat us kind of made me happy to see them win a game against another good team.
But Memphis is one of those teams, when they beat Golden State Friday night, it was the coming of age for John Morant and his team. And as my earlier guest Cole Johnson said, you can see the return of the grindhouse attitude for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Absolutely. It was very reminiscent of the Vince Carter, Zach Randolph, who else did they have? Marc Gasol, those days. And I mean, we had to battle them then, so I already knew what type of rivalry we have with the Grizzlies. They look great. They look really good. Very strong defensively. Valanciunas is really standing up. Ja had his normal performances in that game against Golden State. Steph did his thing, and Draymond had a great stat line too, but it just wasn't enough. It was a really close game, but it went to overtime.
I love that. I love that game. Even though I'm a Warriors fan and the Warriors lost, I'm a fan of the Grizz too, and the way they put it together in overtime. They didn't allow. Here's the one thing that I loved about that game, especially with a young team like Memphis, they never allowed Golden State to get the lead. They allowed them to tie them because it was tied at 99 at the end of regulation. They never allowed them to get the lead. They put their foot down in the extra session and won the game. They put their foot down last night against Utah, and they snatched one on the road. If there was a time, and I've always believed this, and I know you've believed this watching the Spurs as long as you and I have, if there's ever a game that a road team needs to snatch, it's game one, and Memphis snatched game one in Utah.
Absolutely. And if you look at all three of their games since the play-in tournament, they're generally around the same point range, a little bit more than their game against us. But, you know, this game with the Warriors and the game with the Jazz yesterday have similar scores. So they're just really that caliber of a team. They can shoot, they can play defense, and they look real scrappy.
The defense won them the play-in game against the Warriors, and it won them game one in Utah. Megan Price joining me here on the program as we talk NBA playoffs. Let's go to Phoenix. The Suns the Suns took control of that game. The Lakers tried rallying several times, but each time, even given the injury to Chris Paul, each time the Suns had a response for them.
Absolutely. And I want to just say that I think that not a lot of people gave Book his flowers this season. Like, he looked outstanding the entire season and in this game. Like, they really proved something yesterday. Like, I really thought, just from the way the Lakers played in the play-in games, that or the play-in game, that they looked really dominant, and you know, the performance that they had against New Orleans as well, like, it kind of looked like LeBron and AD were back in sync with each other, and then they go play a number 2 caliber team, and we're reminded that they've struggled all season. Yeah,
let's go back to the Saturday games. Milwaukee snatches one against Miami, and it was one that they needed because they were at home, and they didn't want to be reminded of the nightmare series they had against Miami last year. They win that 109-107 in overtime. But I want to concentrate on this one. The Clippers go down to Dallas, 113-103. Is it the end of the Clippers as we know it because of that?
I don't think so. I think the Clippers have more weapons than what Luka had, or what Dallas has, but that says it all right there. Like, Dallas is pretty much just Luka. Porzingis does add some points, but not what we thought he was going to do. Hardaway is good, but the Clippers have like 2 megastars. They have PG, they have Kawhi, and then they have the experience with Rajon Rondo. So they're going to be they're going to win more games than this. This was just one of those games that they have to be reminded, like, Luke is probably the best point guard in the league.
Yeah, And did it seem to you in that game Dallas just like took control early and
absolutely
just ran them out of the building? Because another game one on the road win by Dallas.
I think that what cost the Clippers the game is really in that fourth quarter, there were several missed free throws.
Mm-hmm.
And then Marcus Morris had like 4 points for the entire game, 32 minutes. And you can't have that from him.
No.
Absolutely not.
You can't have that, especially from a person that you're depending on.
Right, and he missed 4 of those free throws,
Mm-hmm.
and then Paul George missed 2 himself. So that's 6 points. And I also kind of felt like Kawhi underperformed point wise. Like he had his rebounds, he had his assists, but his points were sitting at 24. I'm paying which they haven't agreed to a contract yet. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're the star on my team, I expect you to hit 29, 30, and up.
Yeah,
that's what it's gonna take to win.
Absolutely,
in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Being from Chicago, we expected that of Michael Jordan every night. Got it for 13 years. Okay,
Right.
You're just waiting. And I hate to say this about some of the current stars, Kawhi included. You're just waiting for him to turn it on. And Saturday, he never turned it on. He never got in motion.
And as a Spurs fan, I guess I can probably critique his play a little bit more than somebody else because I know what he's capable of because I watched every game in and out.
Yeah.
So I know he can do more than that for sure.
Yeah, Bill Schoening and I had a chance to chat when I met him in Charlotte last year. He said the same. He said the same thing. You're waiting for him. You're waiting for him to turn it on, and you've seen his game. You've seen his game, as have I, and as he. You're just waiting. Okay, when are we going to see Kawhi that led our team, the Spurs, and the Raptors to championships? When are we going to see that Kawhi? And he better show up quick because if they go down 2-0 heading to Texas, they got problems. Big problems.
Oh, absolutely agree. I'm pretty sure the stadium, not at 100% capacity. I mean, I think they can legally, but I think they'll probably be at about 75% capacity.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be loud in American Airlines Arena.
Speaking of loud, Madison Square Garden.
Man, what a game! Favorite game of the series of the first round so far. Such a good game.
Trae Young with a buzzer beater, but the atmosphere at MSG, a playoff game in New York in May. And they were going to peel the paint off the joint. They were going to blow that joint up.
Yeah,
you would think they had to reconstruct MSG. Had the Knicks stolen game 1, and they had their chances to steal game 1. They were down 11. They came back. They grabbed the lead late in the game. If Randall could make some shots, late.
And I think Noel got injured. I mean, he still continued to play, but he was hurting. And so I don't think, that defense makes a huge difference. His block is one of the main reasons, in that last game that he really saved them and kept them in that position that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, the same thing for the Clippers and the Mavs series. I feel it's the same thing about this series. You're not going to be able to shut down Trae Young, and you're not going to be able to shut down Luka. It's not going to happen.
Right.
And you may not even really be able to contain them. So I think you need to focus your defense on shutting down every single piece around them. Like I would be double teaming all the other people because even if they have 60-point games, that's not winning an NBA game.
Yeah. I found that out in 1986 when Jordan took on probably the greatest team ever assembled in the Boston Celtics. I mean, I can't complain. Speaking of not complaining, the Denver Nuggets got punched in the mouth on Saturday night when they allowed 123 points to the Portland Trailblazers. God, this seems like the 80s. It seems it seems like the 80s when you got Western Conference playoff series starting the way that they started.
Right.
And no one's talking about Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers. And Denver has to be thinking, here we go again.
Right. Well, I actually I called Dame time on this series.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Portland's going to take it. And the first game, I said this even before the first game, and I think this shows us that. Like, I just don't think the Nuggets have it without Jamal Murray in the playoffs.
Right.
Now they looked good regular season, but as we all know, everything changes in the playoffs, and so. Dame has the experience here. He has been in the playoffs. Now he hasn't gone as far as he would like, but I think this year, I think he gets out of the first round. I'll say that.
Yeah, remember 2 years ago, Dame got to the Western Conference Finals where he ran into his good buddy Stephen Curry, and that series could have gone either way. That series could have gone either way. I called Portland to win this series also. And if it goes longer than 5 or 6 games, I'm sorry, Jamal Murray is a difference maker for Denver.
Absolutely. I like Aaron Gordon's addition to the team, but he doesn't score a whole lot of points. He's a different stat line. You know, he's a defensive player. He's a rebounder. So a rim protector. So he's going to have a different stat line than what Murray's going to do. And, you know, last year, whenever we got to watch Utah versus the Nuggets, we know what Jamal Murray can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Game 2 tonight in the Mile High City. Should Portland steal Game 2, does this end in Oregon over the weekend?
Ooh, maybe, but it might go to Game 5.
Yeah. I think we'll see Denver again, but I think Al Michael said it during the finals game. You got to be greedy. You steal one on the road. You got to be greedy and try to get 2 of them. And I think Portland's going to try to get 2. The one everyone's watching, the Boston Celtics and the New Jersey and the Brooklyn Nets. I knew I was going to mess that up. Nets take Game 1, 104-93. It didn't seem like a win for the Nets. It just seemed like a sigh of relief.
Right. You know, I think we just saw what is really going on in Boston. It's really just has not been working all season long. They've had some issues with injuries, and then I think they are really lacking in their center position. Now the Nets, they did what we know they can do. They put up points. But they're just not going to play defense. Now the Celtics should have been able to at least get this game, I think.
I thought they were going to steal this one. I thought they were going to. They need to steal Game 2 in Brooklyn to give themselves a chance. And Game 2 is tonight, as well as Game 2 with Dallas and the Clippers.
Right.
One other game to look at. Well, before we leave the Nets Celtics series, is Brad Stevens. If Brad Stevens does not get out of this series, is he on the hot seat?
Yes, I believe so, because I think he was in the hot seat earlier this season when they fell down to the number 8 seed. So I think it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility also. One final game to look at, 125 for the Sixers, 118 for the Wizards. Where was Russell Westbrook?
I mean, this is just one of those games, and I kind of felt like the Wizards were going to get swept in this series, but the Wizards were going to get swept. But you know what? The Sixers didn't look great yesterday, and it was a close game. It was 125 to 118.
It was too close. It was too close.
Embiid was in foul trouble in the first half of the game. So, you know, I think the Wizards are better than people give them credit for. Do they win this series? No.
No, and you know where the blame's going to go. We'll talk about that at another time. Speaking of blame, where does the blame go for letting LeBron walk away from a COVID protocol violation unscathed?
I hate this. I mean, he should at least be fined because James Harden was fined. Now, why did Karis LeVert have to sit out if nobody else, you know, like they're not going to punish them the same way? Now, I'm not saying LeBron should have to sit out because there was 2 different punishments handed out over this. You either were fined or you had to sit out. But he deserves something, absolutely.
He has to. I mean, is this not the letter of the law? You violated a COVID protocol. You violated a COVID protocol. Okay? I mean, I made the assumption that, you know, Adam Silver is a puppet anyway, capitulating to the players instead of enforcing the rules. Rules are rules. You got to play fair, and if you don't play fair, you got to get some kind of fine. You have to.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Definitely. Like, there's no way, just because you're LeBron doesn't mean you go without punishment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Megan Price, the queen of hoop, joining me. She is the host of the Sip Off as well as the NBA Carousel, and this is our version of the NBA Carousel. I'll find a way to work that title into this. It's my first say back in a few months. All right.
Thank you so much.
had to work on something, but this is one of my best NBA analysts going forward. So she and I will be together each week, you know, to talk all things NBA in season and off season. So Listen to this voice and listen to her break it down as she does on the Sip Off and on the Carousel. And I'm gonna make an appearance on the Sip Off so we can talk some more NBA playoffs. That's Megan Price joining me here, breaking down all things NBA playoffs. And folks, enjoy the playoffs. I know I'm going to. Thanks a lot, Megan. I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Megan Price, Spurs fan, host of the NBA Carousel, and host of the Sip Off, joining me here this morning as we head toward hour number 2. I got Jay Spivey coming in hour number 2. Hour 3 has Mike Debate, and we talk all things NFC West. Let me go to the fan feedback zone because something had messed up on my program. And Angus Black, one of my best friends, says, address that Warrior loss. I did, and I hope you caught it. Making some adjustments here on the fly, so bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting everything together. Stephen Askins always chiming in. He said, Angus Black says, you think of it was Michael Jordan, would they hold him out of the playoffs? That's a damn good question. Would they hold Michael Jordan out of the playoffs? Would they hold Stephen Curry out of the playoffs? Magic Johnson or Larry Bird or anybody like that? Would they hold them out? Would they hold them out? Steven says, did you discuss Westbrook, Pat Statting Westbrook? You know what, Steven, I will honor that request right now. I didn't do this with Megan on the air. We're gonna do this again soon as I get everything together here. You know something? And this is for you, Steven. I think Westbrook was out of Washington after they get eliminated in this series. I think it goes no longer than 5 games. Because I said it, and it's been proven, and it's going to be proven unless he comes out guns blazing in Game 2 in Philadelphia. Westbrook does not show up in playoff time. Westbrook simply does not show up in playoff time. I've said it for years, and I'm going to continue to say it. I know that superstars have had off games. I get that. I absolutely get that. But at the same time, if you're wanting respect, and that's a tricky word when it comes to Westbrook. And why do I say that's a tricky word when it comes to Westbrook? Simply put, you don't know what you're going to get out of Westbrook from game to game. You really don't know. And I've always said Westbrook is a stat patter. This season proves my point yet again. Yes, he averaged a triple-double, but where are the Wizards in terms of the standings? Now, I give them credit that they had a 0.6% chance. A 0.6% chance to make the playoffs. 0.6. I'll give you the fact that they got in. It took them an extra game, but they got in. It took them 2 extra games, I beg your pardon, because they blew out Indiana to secure that number 8 seed. But I hate to inform you of this, but you're facing the number 1 seed in the Philadelphia 76ers, whom I didn't trust all season. And I still don't. Now, the Sixers are going to take care of business in this first round. They are. They're going to take care of business in the first round. But it's beyond that that should frighten you. It's beyond that where you will possibly see the demise of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. It's beyond that where you may see the demise of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Now, they played together great off and on this year. I want to see some consistency. Look, I say things the way they need to be said and the way that I see them. Okay? And I will continue to do that. At the same time, however, I know I have to be fair, and Ben Simmons has brought it this year. What I'm waiting for is for him to bring it during the playoffs. I said something when I had a very good friend of mine and Chris Williams, Uncle Smoothie himself, and I got to get him on the program. I got to get him in either for this week or for next week. But let's just be real, shall we? The Sixers got too comfortable, entirely too comfortable, when they beat Miami in the first round 3 years ago. 3 years ago, when they beat Miami in the first round, they got entirely too comfortable. And since that time, you have not seen the best of Philadelphia. Maybe this is the year that you finally see the best of Simmons and Embiid and everybody else, because they all need to step up. Now they have a clear bullseye on their back, being the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. You know, the Nets are coming for them. You know, the Celtics are coming for them. The Wizards are coming for them now, since the Wizards are down 1-0. We have to see the best of Philadelphia, and we have to see it now. You brought in a new coach in Doc Rivers, and I didn't believe he knew what he was getting into in the first place. I really didn't. I was wrong. I was dead wrong. And I said, if I was wrong about Doc, I'd get in front of this microphone and say it. And I'm saying it. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. And I don't mind saying that. And I know Doc is a wonderful coach. I know he is. But now is this is the time where you make your money. This is really the time where you make your money. This is the time where you have to, at worst, if you're Philadelphia, get to the World Championship Series. And if Philadelphia makes it to the World Championship Series, I will call it as such. I will call it as such. But there's an inkling inside of me. There's an inkling inside of me that says something is going to happen when they face Brooklyn. And I have to admit I was wrong about Brooklyn also. Hell, to be perfectly honest, I don't want either one of these two teams getting to the World Championship Series. But it seems like, so far, one of these two teams will get there. Which one? We don't know. We really don't know. And to be perfectly honest, the Sixers should have blown Washington out of the building on Sunday. They should have blown Washington out of the building. That should have been easy peasy for them. That should have been like a 40-point blowout. But it wasn't. And I don't know if there won't be a 40-point blowout in this series. Because now when you allow Washington to stay close, as I'm sending the link out to a lot more people, when you allow Washington to stay close and they're the number 8 seed, you really got to put it together if you're going to take care of business and get to the next round. And one more note, the Clippers are toast. The Clippers are toast. You signed Kawhi Leonard initially, and you give Paul George an extension before you talk to Kawhi Leonard. I hope Kawhi Leonard walks his ass to Golden State. I'm putting it out there. Stephen Haskins says, I told them Bradley Beal got us there with help. I agree. Westbrook didn't do much for Washington this year. Bradley Beal did the bulk of the work. All Russell wanted was numbers. He doesn't want to win. Now, I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me for saying that, but I don't care. I really don't care. Coming up next hour, you got the great debate, and my debate will concern one LeBron James and why he was held off the hook from COVID protocol punishment. I got a couple of opinions, one from Cole Johnson and one from Megan Price, and now you are going to hear mine. Jay Spivey at the bottom of the hour talking the same things. This has been a basketball-loaded show, but I got some football to mix in during hour number 3. And I want to tell some people how I feel about a certain quarterback situation. We're on the air 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Follow us on all social media at official SIT Morn, or go to snowmaninthemorning.com/live to catch the show if you're on the move. Back in a flash.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around, and every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect, in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage.
The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, Toeman, they're waiting for you.
Wait, what?
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
There's the button I'm looking for. Hour 2 of Snowman in the Morning is with you right now. And if you want to sponsor this here program, give a call to 919-213-1427. We're coming to you from North Carolina. We're live. And now it's time for the great debate. And this is not really a debate to me, but it's going to be a debate to a lot of people. And the subject in question, why LeBron got off the hook when it came to violating the COVID protocols. You heard Cole Johnson say it earlier. It's pretty simple. He's the NBA's cash cow right now. He's the big draw. He is, I hate making this comparison, but I need to. He's the Michael Jordan of this era. And I mean in terms of being an attraction. I don't mean in terms of being a player. Okay? Because he ain't nowhere near Michael Jordan. Lots will tell me, oh, he surpassed Michael Jordan. When? Where? How? Just answer those questions for me, and maybe something will lend credence to your argument, but I don't see it. I hate to say this, but I don't see it. And now you have a commissioner in Adam Silver that's basically being an enabler for LeBron James to skirt protocol and skirt punishment, even skirt a fine, just so he can play. And that happened before he played against Golden State. Let that sink in for a little bit. He violated protocol before the play-in game against Golden State. And, of course, nothing happens. Are we surprised? No. Do we have any reason to be surprised? No. Now, folks are going to ask me, what do you think should have happened? What I think should have happened is that LeBron should have been suspended. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's harsh. That's rules. That's fair. At the very least, a fine. But they know if they suspend LeBron for the game against Golden State makes it a cakewalk and blows them out by 40. Which is what I would have preferred to happen anyway. Not LeBron being suspended, but Golden State blowing them out by 40. Here's a question. If you're a regular person, you're not an athlete, you're not a rock star or a rap star or anything, and you violate COVID protocol, what happens? They walk your ass out of the building without a second thought. Now, flip that script and say you're LeBron James and you attend a party, I don't know, with Drake celebrating or using a tequila brand that you're an investor in, and there's pictures that come out of you not wearing a mask. Hell, we don't even know if he's vaccinated. What do you think happened? Exactly what happened? No fine, no punishment, no nothing. Which way is the league tilting now? Is it tilting toward the rest of the players, or is it tilting toward LeBron James? And I'm reminded of a comment that he made sometime back when he said the players under me. If that's not proven truth right now, the players under me, really? That's all you see right now. That's all you feel. And this is the second time LeBron James has screwed the league. I don't even have to mention what happened in 2016. I'm not going to mention what happened in 2016 because it would make me so angry I couldn't think about it. It would make me so angry it would distract me. I just still want to know. Well, actually, I don't want to know anymore. I already have my answer. The biggest draw is wearing a Laker jersey. Never mind the fact that the best player in the league is playing in San Francisco. Never mind the fact that the best young team is playing in Philadelphia or Memphis or Portland. Never mind that. It's all about him. And that pisses me off to no end. Here's a question my buddy Angus Black asked me in the comments section. Had it been Michael Jordan, would they hold him out of the playoffs? You bet your ass. But unlike LeBron, he would have taken accountability and responsibility for it. Have we heard LeBron make any kind of comments on being vaccinated or being at a party and breaking COVID protocol? Nope. James Harden had to face punishment. Karis LeVert had to face punishment. Kyrie Irving had to face punishment. You know, my mom said it a long time ago. Fair is fair. Friends tell me the same thing. Fair is fair. Why won't the NBA be fair on this one? Why won't the NBA grow a set and say, LeBron, it's going to cost you a game? I'll tell you exactly why. They're afraid that if LeBron sits for a game, no one will watch. Their ratings have plummeted through the floor anyway. They need LeBron in every game they can have. Really? Let me pose another question. If it was Stephen Curry, they would have thrown the book at him. Darrell Owens checking in with me says LeBron should have been fined. At the very least, Darrell. At the very least. Now, this is my opinion. I'm going to make an illustration of how unfair this would have been. Money can do some things. You got that right, Darrell. You got that right. See, what really gets on my nerve is the fact that this bias is so blatant, it's not even funny. It is so blatant. Saturday morning, the news comes out that LeBron has been found in violation of COVID protocol. Why did it take till Saturday? That's part one. Part two is the follow-up story that came 20 minutes later. LeBron will face no punishment. What? I guess since his name is LeBron, that he can pretty much get away with anything and everything. That ain't right. That is not right. And yet, it's allowed to continue to happen. It's allowed to go on. It's allowed to continue. And I hate that. I absolutely, emphatically hate that. It just makes you go, really? What the hell are we fighting for? If I were the Players Association, I'd be highly pissed right now. If I were the members of the Players Association, I'd be shaking my head going, wait a minute. Why do the rest of us have to face fines and sitting out games, and he doesn't? It goes back to the comment I repeated that he said last year. The players beneath me. If this is not a pure case of the players being beneath him, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, if this is not a pure, unadulterated case of the players being beneath him, he said the comment. Adam Silver just illustrated it. Adam Silver and the NBA just illustrated it. And you know what else this does? It gives a big old fat finger to the rest of the Players Association and to the rest of the league. LeBron's right here. For those of you watching on the video feed, LeBron's up here. The players are down here. No fairness whatsoever. No equality whatsoever. And I'm bringing equality into this once again to illustrate the point of everyone else that broke COVID protocol had to sit out or was fined or both. And he gets neither. He doesn't even get a slap on the wrist. This is a pure unadulterated business decision. And I understand business decisions, but doggone it, fair is fair. Fair is fair. And the NBA ain't being fair to the rest of its players. Want to take it a step further? If you really want an NBA protest, this would be the time to do it. This would be the time to do it. Just walk the blank out and say, I'm not playing until either he gets vaccinated or shows proof of vaccination or he sits out a game. How about that? How about that? But we know that's never going to happen. We know that'll never take place. We know that LeBron is going to continue to have, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Carte blanche when it comes to the rules on the floor and off it. On the floor, how many times has he traveled during a game and get away with it? Just ask Utah. Just ask everybody that he plays against. That eye injury, quote unquote, against Golden State, he faked it. The injury yesterday, he faked it. When he faces a team that he could probably lose to, he fakes some kind of injury or does something underhanded where he can gain an advantage. Do I need to bring up 2016? Where he dry snitched against Draymond Green because Draymond Green was locking him up in the World Championship Series. Do I need to bring that up? Do I need to remind you of that? You want a conspiracy theory? Fine, you got one. There it is. I've said that since then. And I'm going to continue to say it, dag nabbit. It's like my buddy Darrell said. LeBron should have been fined. And money can do some things. I'll insert a word. Strange things. Very strange things. That's our great debate for today. And I know I got to do better than that, but hey, it's what I got. It's what I have. There. Now that I got that off my chest, I need to take a break. Jay Spivey coming up in just a few moments. And then we'll move into hour 3 where I will talk some football. Julio Jones wants out of Atlanta. What? Back in a flash.
Hey sis, missed you this morning. Kim told me you weren't feeling well, so I'm just doing a self-care check.
Oh, thank you, friend.
How you doing?
Girl, listen, my energy was so low because I didn't eat breakfast when I got up, so I had to miss virtual yoga with y'all.
Trust me, I understand.
But I'm doing much better now that I've eaten, so I'm back on track.
Great. In that case, let's get some steps in tonight. I'll come over and we can walk around the lake.
Sounds good. Appreciate you being in my business, too. Now, let me get in yours. Did you check your blood pressure today?
I did that and my squats, okay?
Okay.
High blood pressure is not going to be my friend if I can help it. See you at 6?
Let's get it. See you then.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Check in on one another and be a part of a healthy blood pressure movement. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Want a real kickstart to your mornings? Then tune in to the best sports show you ever heard. It's called Snowman in the Morning. Sports, life, culture, and a whole lot more. Tune in wherever you get your favorite stations and favorite shows. You'll be glad you did.
Never completely ready to adopt a teen. For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hey, Toeman, they're waiting for you.
I'm going to say this the way that not only it needs to be said, but must be said.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
We continue hour 2. Cole Johnson back on the line with me. Folks, go to snowmaninthemorning.com/shop. It's opening today at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. is when the shop will open. And the first couple of items will be ready. Cole Johnson back with me. And Julio Jones is not happy. Uh-oh.
Well, he's been pretty unhappy for a minute.
Mm-hmm. So, what's going to happen? What do they do?
The question is, to me, what team would want to take on his contract and hope that they can save money in their cap space at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when you have those issues, it could be difficult.
Yeah.
To move.
Yeah, just ask, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers. Oops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, and as you know, as we've seen, it's not necessarily so easy to snap your fingers and then you move from one team to another.
Oh no.
And you know, let's make one thing understood. Julio Jones, awesome talent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, great speed for such a tall guy with a big with the Terrell Owens type of build for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
You would be glad to have him on your team, but you have two issues with him. One, he can sometimes be a little bit on the injury-prone side.
Yep.
And two, you have to explain that contract
that they gave him,
that the Falcons gave him, and any of the other 31 teams will have to explain that commensurate with the rest of their salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that's going to be problematic, and he's not on the right side at 32. So, I mean,
and dealing with more injuries.
Right. So it's like I feel for Julio. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be recognized as one of the best wide receivers in the league. I get that.
Yeah.
I think he wants to play on a team that values him. Obviously, he feels as though the Falcons don't.
Yeah.
You know, so I understand that concern. I understand those concerns, I should say.
Yep.
I just don't know. I don't know if he's going to find the right fit. If he does,
I don't know
the
either.
Falcons force a trade.
I don't know either. And here's I feel for Julio Jones. I do. I really feel for Julio Jones. But the problem that I have with Julio Jones is, why is he doing all this now on the other side of 32? Yeah. If you felt that the Falcons didn't treat you right, why didn't you act then?
And the funny thing is, for the contract that he got, there are rumblings of the similar feelings that he has now.
Mm-hmm.
I produce this for the team.
Yep.
I've seen other wide receivers that haven't produced this much for their teams get paid more than me. I'm being slighted.
Mm-hmm.
And the Falcons felt in good faith, okay, we'll slide what you're worth, and they took care of him.
Yeah, they did.
But now we're at the same spot again, only this time he's a few years older.
Yeah. And that's the point. That is the point. Gonna have to let you go. Got Jay Spivey coming on the line. Thanks for hopping on again, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
And now, my good friend Jay Spivey is on the hotline. What's up, Jay?
How you doing, Ryan? Good to talk to you.
Okay, I didn't want to start with this, but I'm going to start anyway. Why was LeBron not suspended?
I think you know the answer to that.
Yeah, I've already answered that question twice with different guests today.
His name is LeBron James.
Yes. It's like I said, I already knew what's coming. I already knew what the answer was.
I mean, come on.
I know.
I know Adam Silver is the commissioner of the NBA, but let's face it, LeBron's basically the de facto commissioner.
Yeah. I mean, do you see the puppet strings on Adam Silver's back? Or is it just me? Or is it just me?
And not only is it LeBron James, it's the Lakers.
Yeah, I'll give you... Oh, boy.
I sense a little distress in your voice.
Just a little. Because he's been doing this ish for 18 years.
Well, it's not going to stop now.
No, I know. It's not going to stop till it's 21 years, and I understand that. But the distress leaves my voice when I say I'm glad the Lakers lost yesterday.
I think you and a lot of people are probably excited about
that. Jay Spivey joining me as he does every Monday. Let's come down to Carolina sports, and the Hornets got into the play-in tournament. Problem is, they got blown out. Where do they go from here?
A lot of people think they're on the upswing, and I know they had a lot of injuries at the end of the year, but they just absolutely collapsed at the end of the year when they were looking like at one point they could get the 4 or 5 seed, and then they dropped all the way down, and they just absolutely collapsed. I just think it's going to be hard for a team like the Charlotte to be ultra competitive in the NBA the way the league is set up now, because first of all, it's not a destination for free agents.
Yeah.
And the way they drafted, even though they drafted pretty well, they're not getting the top-notch draft players. I mean, although Ball had a great year, but he got hurt, like I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see that Ball's a transformational player or transformative player, I should say.
So why were people so high on him? A couple of our mutual contacts were ultra high on LaMelo Ball being drafted by Charlotte. He gets drafted by Charlotte. He has a typical rookie year, and people hate when I use that word, but it's true. It's typical. He was injured. He played well at the start, but like you said, the Hornets collapsed.
And you still hear these apologists like, everybody loves him. Everybody loves him. Well, yeah, that's great. That might be exciting to watch, but how'd that turn out for them in the playoffs?
Right.
Or how'd that for them at the end of the year? I mean, they just got waxed last week in the play-in game.
Against Indiana. They got blasted.
And Indiana's not any good either.
Which proves every single point that you have made to me about the Charlotte Hornets. There's some more work that they need to do. They shouldn't settle on being a number 10 seed when they should have been at least the number 4 seed. They were playing great basketball at that time. But then, like you said, the rug was yanked from under them, and they collapsed.
They just absolutely collapsed. The last month of the season.
Mm-hmm. And they barely hung on for that 10th seed.
Yeah, you're right about that.
They barely hung on because the team they beat twice was on their heels, and that was the Bulls.
Right.
The Bulls were on their neck. But then the Bulls collapsed because they went through injury concerns as well. Go ahead.
Now we got the draft coming up, and when is it? July, I guess it is.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get a high draft pick, so and this draft's actually pretty weak, so I don't see them getting a really good player in the draft. And they're not going to get free agents; they're just not going to.
And
I don't care what people say. I mean, I like Charlotte. We all love Charlotte, but it's not a destination for these guys.
They're looking at New York. They're looking at San Francisco. They're looking at Chicago. Free agent destinations. They look at places where they can really make a name for themselves.
And the other thing now is that everybody's playing with their friends and doing these super teams.
Yeah.
Well, are you really going to build your team around ball? I mean, because that's really what you got right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't see these big names wanting to play with ball.
I don't see that either. I hate to say it to these. I really don't. I don't see it.
And you're right. They are apologists. There's a lot of Hornets apologists.
There are a lot of Hornets apologists that I've spoken to over the course of this year, and nothing against them. Okay, Sam Farber's a good friend. He's the radio voice of the Hornet, but he tells it like it is also. They crashed.
Yeah, they certainly did.
Jay Spivey joining me here on the program, talking Carolina sports as he does every Monday. Speaking of apologists, here come the Panthers.
They might be more of apologists than the Hornets are.
Is Sam Darnold the answer in Charlotte for the Carolina Panthers? I must have an answer to this question. I realize why they made the trade. But why didn't they fix the one problem that they had with Bridgewater at center? An offensive line.
That's one of the things I've been saying. They had a chance of really making this team good by either drafting a lineman or a top-notch receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know they had two receivers that played really well this past year, and Moore and let's see, Robbie.
Yeah,
I went blank.
Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. I went blank.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
And Moore and Robbie Anderson. And I know they had, but in this day and age, is it that great with passing games the way they are? Is it that great to have 2,000-yard receivers? I mean, if you average that's like 65 or 70 yards a game. That's not that great. So they had a chance of drafting either one of those Alabama players.
Yep.
And Waddle or Devontae Smith, and they passed on them. They passed on both linemen from Oregon and Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand it. It makes no sense to me.
Look, Sanford. We talked about this last time I had you on. San Francisco drafted Trey Lance at number 3. True, but you know what they did in the later rounds? They got help where they needed help. They got linemen.
Right.
They went offensive and defensive linemen. They picked up a couple of cornerbacks who are going to be absolute studs. Okay? They're going to be absolute. Every lineman that San Francisco has drafted, including the big guy out of Notre Dame, McGlinchey's out of Notre Dame, and they're in that system, and they allow, and they are going. They're in that system that wants to punish you by, I don't know, running the football.
Yeah, that's one thing. I try to convey this to people. And we all know Christian McCaffrey's a great player, but
yes,
he's already starting to get beat up. I mean, as many touches he gets in the NFL, that's going to take a toll on you, and
yes,
I think it already has. I mean, he's going to get tons of touches if he's healthy this year.
Mm-hmm.
That just wears on you and wears on you. And everybody keeps talking, well, he never had these injury problems until this past year. Well, that could be the start of something really bad. I hope that's not the case. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope that's not the case either, but people need to remember the last year he was at Stanford, he had a big injury problem and he missed 5 games.
Right.
He missed 5 games in his final year at Stanford. And this is after Kevin Hogan graduated.
And he's not that big of a guy. I mean, he's pretty slight despite how good he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just think in the NFL, especially at running back, if you start getting injuries, it becomes a downward spiral.
Yes. Because, I mean, they celebrate McCaffrey, and this is one thing that gets on my nerve. They celebrate McCaffrey for being a 1,000 player. They celebrate Marshall Faulk for being a 1,000 player. And I understand those too, but the durability of McCaffrey is questioned. Marshall Faulk was durable as all get out when he played in St. Louis. Why don't they celebrate the most durable of all those backs who started that trend in Roger Craig?
Right. I couldn't agree more. He should be in the Hall. He should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame.
He should have been in the Hall of Fame. He was the first to get 1,000 season. That was 1985. Okay? And he finished with, I think, 1,100 aside.
He was a key part of those championship teams for the 49ers.
Yes. 3 Super Bowl victories. Okay? And the first to score 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl game. Super Bowl 19.
You're preaching the choir. I love the Niners. You're preaching the choir. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame too.
He should have been in the Hall of Fame. Back to the Panthers. I understand they made the deal for Darnold. You got to get the ball downfield. I understand them not wanting to get rid of McCaffrey because they just paid him. But McCaffrey's been beat up now.
Yeah.
He's been beaten up. He came back too soon in the game against Kansas City, and he got popped again.
I think they almost had to pull this Darnold trade off because obviously Teddy Bridgewater was not the answer.
Right.
And I know Darnold has been really pretty bad in New York, but I think a lot of us just in his head. I mean, playing it, getting beat up like that and playing in New York, it can't be the easiest thing. But I mean, he can't be any worse than Teddy Bridgewater. And frankly, where the Panthers were going to draft, I don't think they were going to get one of those top-notch quarterbacks.
Right.
And I'm not sold on Trey Lance anyway. So
right.
Even if they had tried to draft him, I don't know if that was the answer. So I think this is probably the best option for them, and they really didn't have to give up a lot to give him.
Right. So why didn't they go after? And I'll repeat a question you asked a few moments ago. Why didn't they go after a lineman? There were 2 of them sitting right there.
Two of the
premier best. Linemen. Yes.
2 premier linemen.
Mm-hmm. Panay Sewell out of Oregon and Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern.
Said they go for a cornerback.
Why?
I just don't get it. I mean, it wasn't somebody they really needed.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's something I keep trying to tell people. And David Tepper being the new owner there now, and Matt Rule, the coach, and the new GM, it just seems like, to me, they think they know everything, and they've done nothing to prove that. And this arrogance that they have, it just simply amazes me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It seems like, I don't know if I'm the first one to say this. You probably said this in your head, but I'm going to go ahead and say it aloud. Why is Matt Rule trying to construct this Carolina Panther team like he constructed his team at Baylor?
Well, this is not college. The NFL is not college. I mean, a lot of teams kind of construct their offenses around how colleges do it, but it's not college.
Right.
This is not the Big 12. This is the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And these are really men playing against even better men.
Yes.
This is not the Big 12 where they don't play any defense at all.
They really don't. But teams in the NFL play defense. Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, they at least attempt to play defense. The Big 12 doesn't even try to play defense.
No, does the Big 12 even know what that word means?
No.
45,
not even
35 games and 48, 45 games, and that's before they go to overtime.
Defense is not in the dictionary for them.
No, it really isn't. It really isn't. Jay Spivey joining me here on the program. I just wonder. Well, I don't think I can wonder how this season is going to turn out, even with Sam Darnold at the quarterback position. Sam Darnold's going to get run over. They have not solved the offensive line.
I agree.
They just haven't.
That has to be a concern for people who really know what they're doing with the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
But they, like you said, they passed on a lineman, and
Two of them.
He got beat to a pulp with the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the line's probably a little better for the Panthers, but not much better.
No, I mean there's no right tackle. Hell, there's nobody on his blind side either.
No, you gotta have tackles. You just have to have tackles.
You have to.
They're cornerstone positions, and really on any football team now, even in high school, that's a key position.
Mm-hmm. And they're big guys. They have to be big guys. So why are these apologists attacking you when you say the truth about the Carolina Panthers?
They think, listen, just because I live in North Carolina doesn't mean I have to bow down to all the North Carolina teams.
Right.
I mean, you can't speak the truth and be rational about it. You can be objective. You can be totally objective and still follow a team.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's why I have you on each week. That's why when we have these conversations, people are giving us the side eye.
Oh,
how can you say? Look, you and I had a conversation on Facebook about this. Okay, were we not getting the side eye throughout the whole exchange?
I've gotten the side eye about the Panthers, especially. I made my opinion about Cam Newton abundantly clear when he was with the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not a fan. I'm still not a fan of Cam Newton.
Right.
And everybody was like, "You shouldn't say stuff like that. This the Panthers. This Cam Newton. Look at him. He's a great player. Blah blah blah."
Yep.
I can be objective.
Yes.
I can be totally objective. I see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cam Newton, although they went to a Super Bowl, they didn't win, and he acted like a little petulant child after the game was over.
He sure did.
He acted like a little baby.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to win a championship with Cam Newton. I tried to tell that to people since the day he got drafted.
Yep.
And they were like, and there's still this day, people love him.
Listen, I only saw parts of the Auburn season that he had. And frankly, I wasn't impressed.
I mean, he had a great year that year. Don't get me wrong. But, and I know he won in college, but, college is college.
Yes.
It's different.
Yeah, very different.
I mean, he had a great year in 2015. I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
He was the MVP that year. I even said that.
Yes.
But the rest, he really kind of tailed off dramatically after that year.
He hasn't been right, and I said this several hundred times over, and people do not want to agree with me when I say this, but I know you do. Cam Newton has not been the same since Super Bowl 50.
No.
Period.
And he's been hurt. His feet have been hurt. He cannot throw. I mean, anybody who saw the Patriots play this past year, he can't throw the ball 20 yards.
Nope. He can't even throw a 10.
I mean, he just can't.
He can't even throw the ball 10 yards. You can't even. I'll bring up the game against San Francisco, where the 49ers, of course, had a ton of injuries, and he got mauled.
Yeah.
He got mauled. And it wasn't even. It was by his second-string defenders that had to step in because Bosa was out. Solomon Thomas was out. Javon Kinlaw was banged up. The 49ers were banged up last year. They went to New England, and they mauled Cam Newton.
You're being kind about the 49ers being beat up. They were totally beat up.
They were eviscerated. I always say that they had a litany of injuries. They had a litany of injuries. And even that's being nice.
Yes.
But they went to New England and held them to 6 points and destroyed them.
Yep.
They destroyed them. And I'll say it again about Cam Newton. He hasn't been right since Super Bowl 50, nor will he be right. He depended, since that game, on his legs entirely too much.
Absolutely. I mean, I know you talk about Lamar Jackson a lot, too. I think the same thing is going to happen to him.
It's happening now.
And Lamar Jackson's he's not nearly as big as Cam Newton. So what's going to happen to him?
I mean, I'll give you 3 quarterbacks right now that depend on their legs entirely too much, and it's going to cost them. We've seen it happen to Cam Newton. It's going to happen to Lamar Jackson. And the third quarterback that it's happened to already because the team is too reliant on him the second half of the year, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's true. And and another person, I think, for 2 reasons. One, obviously for his personal mess that he's going through, and the other is he's already been hurt. Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. Yes.
I mean, he probably would have already been traded by now if it hadn't been for all this
Right.
mess that's going on with him right now.
Right.
But he's already had one knee surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and he runs the ball a lot too.
And
I
it
mean,
was a very debilitating knee surgery. Let's not forget that.
Absolutely. And his former coach didn't do him any favors by
None.
trading all of his players away.
None.
So he has
None.
nobody around him. I think he's going another one you got to watch out for.
Yeah, because whenever that personal mess gets settled, and I hope it gets settled soon, wherever he lands, even if he plays in Houston for another year, he's going to have the same problems that the other quarterbacks that I've mentioned have had. They depend on their legs entirely too much.
Yep. And you know what? When Russell Wilson was younger, man, nobody moved around the pocket as well as he did.
Exactly.
And I know he's got baseball experience, but everybody ought to watch it. I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. I really am. I always have been, even in college.
Yes.
The guy knows how to slide, unlike any other quarterback in the NFL.
Exactly.
And you have to be able to slide and get out of bounds.
Mhm.
And a lot of these quarterbacks have no idea how to avoid it.
None.
And then they end up hurting their knees or hurting their ankles because they don't know how to slide.
Deshaun Watson. Cam Newton. There you go. Cam Newton. The quarterbacks the quarterbacks that we mentioned. Lamar Jackson. Jackson cannot slide worth anything.
No, he can't.
He cannot slide.
Yeah, it's ugly.
And I go back to the question that a friend of mine posed to me, and he won the unanimous MVP for what?
Yeah.
He won the unanimous MVP for what?
Yeah.
I mean, he ran for 1,000 yards. Okay, fine. What happened in January? He got ran over.
Yeah, he was. That's being kind. They got waxed in the playoffs.
They got whooped at home in Baltimore. In Baltimore. My wife asked me, would Baltimore make a good Super Bowl opponent? No, because they're depending too much, and Seattle is guilty of this too. They depend too much on Russell Wilson. I love Russell Wilson. I do.
Oh, yeah.
But use his entire ability. Will you please, Pete Carroll? They depend on him entirely too much the second half of each of the last 6 years. Each of the last 6 years. And what happened at home in Seattle against the Rams? They got crucified.
Well, let's go back to the Super Bowl when they decided not to use Marshawn Lynch on the goal line.
It hasn't been the same since.
How'd that work out for him?
Hasn't been the same since.
No, they really haven't been. They
haven't been the same since.
You need a half yard for a touchdown to win the Super Bowl.
Why are you going to throw the ball?
You throw the ball?
And you throw the ball. Why?
I don't understand it. It just makes no sense to me.
You know, Al Michaels said it best. Unreal. I watched that play unfold, and I'm like, why are you throwing a slant on the 1 yard line when they're anticipating it?
Don't you think Belichick's going to figure that out?
And that was a quick adjustment because they didn't call timeout. They got right to the line, knowing Wilson was not going to audible out. And this is where I think Russell Wilson needs to go to another team to allow him to audible.
Yeah.
I bet you any kind of money Russell Wilson saw that situation and said, no, can't do that. You have Marshawn Lynch. Why didn't you give him the ball?
I mean, at the time, Marshawn Lynch was a premier running back. Give him the ball. Give him the ball.
And I believe he had a 100-yard game, did he not?
I believe he did.
He had a 100-yard game in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and you couldn't get him one more yard?
He needs a half a yard.
I borrow from Mike Francesa. Whoever got in Russell Wilson's ear and Darrell Bevel, I think, was the offensive coordinator at the time.
I think he was. I believe
Darrell Bevel was the offensive coordinator, and he played at Wisconsin. What's that tell you? What's that tell you? Darrell Bevel told Russell Wilson, pass. If I were Russell Wilson, I'm going, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
And he has enough clout, he could have said that.
And now Wilson hasn't been right since then.
Well, I don't think the whole team's been totally right since then.
They haven't.
And they've obviously turned against Pete Carroll in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. And Pete Carroll is still there.
Yes.
And Pete Carroll is still there.
He just signed an extension. He's going to be there for a while.
And the team is going to falter. The team is going to falter.
I mean, they're obviously older. I mean, it doesn't take long for an NFL team to fall apart.
Nope. And this is the year Seattle finally falls apart. This is the year Seattle finally falls apart and just.
Well, the NFC West is so good. I mean, it's going to be hard for them.
Yeah.
NFC West is really good.
Mm-hmm. And remember, the team that won the NFC West 2 years ago is going to be fully healthy again this year.
Yes.
The team that won the NFC West 2 years ago is going to be fully healthy. Javon Kinlaw is going to have Nick Bosa on the other side, and they're going to terrorize that division. They're going to absolutely terrorize that division. Being fully healthy, and plus, you pick up Trey Sermon in the draft to give some help to Raheem Mostert. Oh, boy.
I mean, you got to believe that the bad luck that they had this past season is kind of gotta go away, and
it has to.
Something good has to happen.
Something good has to happen.
I've never seen of the rash injuries they had,
and yet they still had the fifth. And think about this: Grant Cohn, a good friend of mine, gave me this stat. At the end of the year, they still had the fifth-rated defense.
I know they really played well.
I mean, the culture's been established. It was time for Robert Saleh to get a coaching job.
Yeah.
He deserved it. But the culture's been established, especially defensively. The culture has been established in San Francisco. And I'll say it again. The team that had the worst luck with injuries in that NFC West is going to terrorize the NFC West this year.
Well, let's hope. That's
Yes. Jay Spivey joining me here on the program as he does every Monday. We're talking Carolina sports. We're gonna get some more stuff together, but I have him with me every Monday. It's a pleasure to have you, my man. Can't wait to talk to you next week.
Thank you, Brian. Have a great week and have a great holiday weekend too.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Jay Spivey joining me here as he does every Monday. Listen, I'll say it again. The team that had the worst luck, the absolute worst luck with injury, is going to terrorize, absolutely terrorize the rest of the NFC West. The rest of the NFC West does not know what's coming, and they won't know what's coming either. You know what's great? I can't wait for it to happen. I just cannot wait for it to happen. You know what's even greater about it? Everybody's going to count them out. Everybody is going to count them out. And I would not be surprised if they, and I know I'm going to be wrong when I say this because the NFC West is as stacked as it is. It's like the Western Conference in the NBA. It's stacked. There are no nights off. There are no days off. I know that. I absolutely know that. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the NFC West division goes through San Francisco. Period. Mike Debate at the bottom of hour 3, and hour 3 is on the way. Snowman in the morning, back in a flash.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught your first flat. He was the best.